When a baby is diagnosed as having a life-limiting condition, nobody can say for certain how long the life of that child will be. In fact, as medical technology advances, new therapies and treatments mean babies with these conditions are living longer and therefore changing how we care for them. Dr. Paula Kelly is a clinical nurse specialist in paediatric palliative care at Great Ormond Street Hospital in London and has experience in caring for babies whose prognosis or length of life is uncertain.
The other thing I would say about prognosis is, in my experience, is it's evolving and it's changing. So when I started working as a children's nurse, which is quite a long time ago, for example, babies who were born with spinal muscular atrophy, type 1, did not survive. I would say my experience beyond probably 9 months, they certainly didn't get to a year. Whereas we now have children on our caseload who have had their 3rd birthday. And so I think that evolving of prognosis, so spinal muscular atrophy type 1 is still it's a life-limiting condition, but actually the length of time of survival has evolved considerably.
It's impossible to say. Most of the babies with severe anomalies, they maybe live within the life as short as 24 hours, they will die the day they're born, more or less. But it's so difficult. We had cases of babies with severe malformation of the brain who go on and live for maybe weeks. It's very difficult to predict. There is an average, is what you read from the medical report, and that's what we communicate to the parents. And so I always say we never know, for the good or for the bad. And so again, I give this proposal, let's follow the baby and see how his life is going to develop.
So sometimes we talk about the term parallel planning, because one of the things that's, I think, particularly prevalent in neonatal palliative care is this sense of uncertainty. So we expect certain conditions to be fatal, but sometimes they're not. Or they are fatal, but the time at which they will be fatal is uncertain. And so we make one plan for a baby being born alive and not surviving for very long, and then we make another plan for if that baby survives longer.
As we have seen, perinatal hospice care is a somewhat new and unique model of care. It is growing all the time as we learn more from these babies and their families. Unfortunately, many families who are preparing to welcome a baby with a life-limiting condition are left without the supports and the care they need to accompany them along this journey.
Yeah, so we ran home and spent the next
week.
Yeah, just researching, looking things up. Quite frankly, most of the doctors weren't really sure about the specifics of it. They knew what the diagnosis was and they could pick it out from the ultrasound, but answering questions like, what is life like for our baby? What is development like? What are the chances she'll be born alive? What does birth look like for a child with this diagnosis? Mm-hmm. They really knew none of it. A lot of times because these babies are, their lives are ended before they're born. And that's the most common ending for this situation. They don't really do the research and find out about specifics. So we were left with a lot of questions and not really sure where to go other than Wikipedia and whatever articles we could find online. And that was the other thing that was amazing in what they were doing here, is that we were immediately partnered with an OBGYN that we trusted and that right off the bat we knew we were in good hands. They also provided solid medical support and so we felt safe and I felt like Sarah was going to be taken care of, just as if Hannah was going to be a healthy baby as well.
They got us in within a week or two.
Yeah. And
we sat here and we just felt like we could breathe a little bit for the first time since we found out the news. Someone understands. Someone's going to be here to walk us through this. We're not alone. That's how we felt.
What we do, it can be done anywhere because it doesn't require big, devices or big environment. It just requires attention to the comfort of the baby and support to the family. And I think that many families, many mothers would rather choose for this program, let's say, Because as I said before, in the bottom of the heart of the parents, there is this desire to be mother and father, to be able to hold the baby who is alive even for a short period of time. And this is not just my opinion, but it comes from experience. We met families very, very often who said, I didn't know your program was around. I wish they told me before. Because no matter what you do, the life of this baby is short, but at least if you follow the natural length of life of the baby, gives to the parents the possibility to be parents. And so several parents were so happy that they had the possibility to come and be enrolled in our program and welcome their babies like this.
Mostly, if we think that it is not very expensive, it does not require a kind of high technology, except for the diagnosis sometimes, but it just requires a very good education of professionals, a very good team, and just the knowledge of the value of these very little lives and the desire to be with them in the way they need, which is very different.
People are unaware that it exists. Getting the word out is important, and having people know that they have this option, that this is a reasonable consideration, it is a reasonable course of treatment, because it is a course of treatment. One of my pet peeves is to hear people say, "Oh, we're gonna stop treatment." That is so not true. We are changing our goals, and there's a difference in that. Because again, we don't want people to feel as though we're abandoning them, that we're taking away care. We're giving them as much care as we can. It's just with a different focus for what we hope the end will be. This should be a standard of care, and not something that, does that exist? No, it should be a standard. Of course it exists. And it should exist, as I said, through the life of any patient.